Hey, welcome back to the videos. I've been looking at the poll results from a forum post that was posted by me a few weeks ago, and what I was looking for was some input from Hangout members who watch these videos, who are interested in them. Give me some feedback as to what they would like to see in future videos, some topics we could cover. And I've been looking at that, and there seems to be a recurring theme about explaining how to develop a solo in Scruggs style, how to find the melody, and then incorporate rolls and Scruggs ideas into that to make it into a bluegrass sounding solo. So I think that will be a topic that we should cover. So the next few videos is going to kind of look at helping you build solos in Scruggs style. First thing we need to do is isolate a melody. I'm going to pick 9-Pound Hammer. It's a pretty recognizable and familiar melody to most bluegrass players. And what I like to do is dissect a melody and sketch out just the framework of the melody. And by that I mean I want to eliminate rolls, licks, chords, hammers, pull all these embellishing ideas, embellishments that you use to make your solos more interesting. But what we want to determine first is what are the notes of the melody. Now if we're talking about instrumentals, that gets kind of complicated because there are a lot of notes in instrumentals, and typically every note you play is a part of your solo when you do an instrumental. But we're going to look at vocal songs, because vocals, when you hear someone sing a melody like 9-Pound Hammer, what they're singing is basically the melody. And obviously you can do things with your voice that go above and beyond the melody, but if you hear someone sing what I call a straight ahead version or a standard version of, say, 9-Pound Hammer, and they don't do a lot of inflection with their voice, they're going to be singing just the straight melody. So I want to look at 9-Pound Hammer for our first example. And what I try to do, and what I also teach my students, is to isolate sections of the melody over the chords in the song. So there will be one melody line that you would sing through the whole song. It would sound something like this. And again, don't pay attention to my vocals because I'm not a great lead singer. I'm a baritone singer. But it's a 9-pound hammer, it's a little too heavy, honey, for my size, honey, for my size. Well, roll on, buddy, with your load of coal. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? That's a basic sketch of the melody using the vocal line, but I tried to eliminate any kind of movement with my voice, just play, sing the melody as straight as I could. Now, what we're going to do is isolate sections of the melody over the chord changes. So think about the rest of the band members or your jammers you're playing with, and they're providing rhythm and backup for you while you sing the melody. I'm going to do the same thing on the banjo. I'm going to provide accompaniment for myself, and then we're going to isolate which sections of the melody go with what chord changes. It's a 9-pound hammer, it's a little too heavy, honey, for my size, honey, for my size. Well, roll on, buddy, with your load of coal. How can I roll when the wheels won't go? Okay, so if you were to slow that down and really pay attention to my vocals, you would hear that certain words and phrases, which is the melody being sung, would fit over the G chord, and then the band would switch to C, and then another section of the melody or the vocal line would be sung or played over the C chord, then back to G, D, back to G. So what we need to do first to play the melody is identify the notes, and then I want to relate them to those chord changes. So I'm going to just see if I can find these notes that I sung for the G section of the song. It's a 9-pound. Now those are lead-in notes. Pay attention to that, because anytime you start a solo or you sing a vocal song, you need to give the other musicians lead-in time, or notes, pickup notes they're also called. So some of these notes, it's a 9-pound, are actually pickup notes, but I need to find those because it's being sung. It's a 9 note. And again, I'm not going to get into any theory discussion here, but these are notes of the G scale. melodies sung or played in the key of G will depend primarily on those 7 notes of the G scale. So if you want to go back and identify these notes and relate them to positions in the scale, you can, that's great, but let's don't worry about that here. Let's just use our ear to see if we can find those notes. We know the song starts in G because we're doing it in the key of G. So let me see if I can find that tone. It's a 9 pound, 9 pound, 9 pound. Hey, it's a D note. Let me see how many times I sing that note. It's a 9 pound. Sounds like it goes up slightly. I'm going to try this note. Okay, so it's a 9 pound. Those would be my pickup notes. Hammer. Now here's where the body of the tune starts. Hammer, hammer. 2 G notes. Well, that makes sense. The melody starting on a G note. We're doing it in the key of G, and the band is playing a G chord for accompaniment. It makes sense, doesn't it? It's a 9 pound hammer. It's a little open second, 2 3rd string 2nd fret, heavy. Now the song changes on the 2nd syllable of heavy. That's a chord change. Heavy. That's where the rhythm would go to C. So let me just isolate that one section with the pickup notes, and then we'll sing it over a G chord. It's a 9 pound hammer. It's a little too heavy. Now the tricky spots in vocal songs is figuring out when the chord changes come. If you really listen to what the other musicians are playing, watch the chord changes, and then listen to the vocalist, you can get a sense of exactly when the change happens. Sometimes it happens on a certain word, and then the next word would be the chord change. In this case, half of the word heavy, the first syllable is G, the second syllable actually falls to C. So you have to listen for that syllable change there. It's a 9 pound hammer. It's a little too heavy. Actually the change would fall right on the second syllable. It's a 9 pound hammer. It's a little too heavy. But now you'll already be in C, but the syllable change kind of feels like you're dragging slightly. You could speed that up if you like, but it's kind of syncopated pattern. So what we've identified here is that section of the G melody. It's a 9 pound hammer. It's a little too heavy. Now we're in C. And it lasts for one measure, or 4 beats, just like the G section did. So we need to figure out what notes are being played over that. I'm going to take a little artistic liberty here, and I'm going to include a blues note. Heavy. The first note would be the actual one of the notes out of the chord position. 2nd fret of the 4th string would be the 2nd syllable of heavy. Honey. G, open 3rd. Here's where I'm going to inflect a blues note. For my. Okay, we're still in C though, but I'm going to play a B flat and an A note. 3rd string, 3rd fret, 3rd string, 2nd fret. So the first note of the melody that's played over the C rhythm section is this note. Open G, 3rd fret, 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And guess what? Those are all the notes that are contained. Heavy, honey, for my. Now when I hit the G string, sighs. Guess what? This section of the rhythm, sighs, only lasts for half a measure. So there's only 2 beats of G to cover. So we just play one note, sighs, which would be a half note. Duration-wise, it lasts 2 beats. Now the song goes to D. The D is 2 beats. We need to figure out what notes fall over that. Honey, for my. Honey, for my. Would be this walk up on the 4th string. Honey, for my side. Honey, for my. Honey, for my. That would be played over the D. And then back to G. Sighs, which would actually be a whole note. So what we've done in this video is isolate some melody notes. Next video we're going to add some rolls and licks. Thanks.